Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ha'arakah, Kadash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is prophecy and news and prophecy, and this is article from the Gateway Pundit, right? And this is a story about Tommy Robinson, previously known as EDL's head honcho, basically. And the title of this reads, YouTube removes video of Tommy Robinson from TGP Reporters channel, says it violates hate speech policy. Now, Tommy Robinson, I'm not sure what's the history of, like, what's going on with EDL, but I'll just give you a short history. EDL stands for English Defense League, which is basically kind of like I think, what would you say, um, far right, you could say racist. That's what they say, racist um, group, which basically believes England should be England, should go back to the good old days when, white people were living as angels upon the earth, all that good stuff. But anyway, it reads, YouTube has removed a video of Tommy Robinson addressing its supporters from the Reporters channel, claiming that it violates their hate speech policy. Obviously, we understand the hate speech policy is part of the marginalizing, you could say marginalizing, but basically them taking away the rights of the people, okay? The right to so-called freedom of speech, all right? So that everyone has to basically live in an Orwellian state of being, like 1984, where Newspeak has taken over and everyone has to speak in the same vein, basically, where the government knows what they're doing and everyone speaks PC, politically correct, so that it's just total subjection, total control over the people. The video was pre-recorded to be released in an event that he went back to prison because he had an outstanding case and he was sent to prison. On Thursday, Robson was sentenced to 6 months in prison for 3 counts of court. There can be no argument that the video wasn't newsworthy. In the video, Robinson discussed his case as well as grooming gangs and the importance of speaking up for the victims. When the sentence was handed down, I published the video to my channel to be able to embed it in a story. It was unlisted and could only be viewed by people with a direct link. So I'm in prison for the crime of journalism. Robinson began the pre-recorded video for exposing Muslim pedophile rapists. So basically, they're saying that really the first part is really what it is. He's in prison for journalism. You know, this is basically, you know, his right to speak about certain things, but where it's gonna rub people the wrong way because the way it's been marketed to the people, they're gonna use these laws. But these laws, people being happy, yeah, he ain't got a mouthpiece no more. You don't know that you can be lumped in that same category as he is, even though you're speaking words of a different context. You're speaking against the general consensus or the general idea of what the government wants to push. Robertson continued on to say that British journalists don't seem bothered about this at all. They're puppets of corporate globalist media. In fact, they're not even journalists, they're activists. Tommy Robinson recorded a video to be released only if he was sent back to jail. In it, he calls the people to fight back by any means necessary. He has just been sentenced in 6 months in prison. So yeah, I mean, telling people to fight back any means necessary. That could even be deemed as a terrorist threat, but because of the color of his skin, the so-called Edomite, possibly a Jake, we'll just go, off face value. So-called Edomite, they ain't gonna call him no terrorist. I've appealed their decision to remove the video, sentenced to 6 months plus the reactivation. Because basically, what he's saying is the same thing that people within Muslim extremist sex say, fight back any means necessary. So it's in that same vein. And really, what they're doing, the elites are doing there, because he's a shill. He's part of the government system. Tommy Robinson Maine, his real name, is a caricature, which basically, a cult of personality that's being utilized to work over one of the many demographics that the elites want, the different sets of people that the elites want to take over. So he's saying the same thing these Muslim extremists are saying, but it's different. Sentenced to 6 months plus the reactivation of his previous suspended sentence minus time served. All in all, he will be serving approximately 10 weeks in prison for nothing. The independent journalist was facing a maximum of up to 2 years in prison after being convicted of breaching a reporting restriction by live streaming commentary on the sidewalk outside the court during a 2018 Muslim grooming gang trial. The prosecution claimed that he was aggressively confronting and intimidating the defendants. In other words, he was guilty of making pedophiles afraid. Alright? So I could read on, but the point's already been outlined. That he's been sent to prison for speaking out against the system. But the main point is that his videos were taken down from his YouTube site for being held against because his speech basically violates hate speech policy. Now the point being is that these things basically show that the powers that be they're exercising their power, man. All right. Can I not remember what the scripture is? Okay. So this is Amos 8:11 at verse 12, and it reads, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land." Now, what's a famine? A famine is a lack. Usually, a famine in the land is a lack of food due to a poor harvest. In terms of a lack of rain or locusts or pests basically taking, reaping the fruit before it's, or some form of way where the fruit of your labor is being corrupted, right? So that kind of makes it as to where the food, the staples of food that you have are lacking, or there's none at all, no resources, so there's a lack of food, no one can eat. Not a famine of bread though, so this ain't gonna be a famine where you can't eat, nor a thirst of water, or a famine where you don't have no water to drink because all of the cisterns dried out or the water was contaminated or something to that effect. This one's gonna be but of hearing the words of the Lord. Now, if you know anything, Romans the 10th chapter tells you faith comes by hearing, the hearing by the word of the Lord. So basically, if you can't hear the word of the Lord, that means there's going to be no faith. But that's really in conjunction with the precept of Matthew the 25th chapter, where it speaks of the 10 virgins, the 5 that are wise and the 5 that are foolish. The 5 wise got the word whilst there was no famine. They got the bread of life while the bread of life was there. Kind of like the story of Joseph in Egypt, right? 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine, basically. So in the 7 years of plenty, they basically, stocked up greatly and prepared for that famine. Whereas with when the famine came, they basically had a monopoly over the people, and that's what made Egypt great in all the land, because everyone had to come to them for bread. But not swaying from the point. The point being is that the 5 that were wise basically stocked up on the word of the bread of life, and when the famine came, and more so in conjunction with the allegory, they got oil for their wick. So when the darkness came over all the land, their light was still was there working. They could see in the darkness. They were able to see through all the madness. Whereas the 5 that were foolish, they knew about it. They didn't take no oil for themselves. They got lost in the dark, and they were trying to find where to get the oil, which the oil denotes the word. But guess what? it says, but of hearing the words of the Lord, because there was a famine of hearing the words of the Lord, the word of the Lord. The prophets weren't out there no more to teach you, right? They couldn't get that oil, and that's really goes to what the YouTube, all right? Because basically these videos they can be shut down now because of these different violations of hate speech policy. And basically, with that being said, these videos that are there teaching you all the breakdowns and understanding of the things that stand to happen, they're gonna be taken down, and then being taken down, and the people not being aware of these different things, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna be like a fish out of water, man. A ship out without a sail or a paddle, all right? Just led astray. So, verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro and seek the word of the Lord, and they shall not find it. Because basically, the word is not going to be out there. The ones that have the word, the elect, which we are of the hopeful elect, we hope that the Lord is going to have mercy on us and save us out of this hell. All right? They're going to have the word, and they're going to be a hiding from the wind. And the Lord's going to guide their footsteps and take care of them. So we could see this prophecy in motion with these things like this. This guy over in the UK is a public figure in terms of the so-called white people within the UK that believe in taking back their sovereignty over the land, and he's been put in prison. All right. His videos have been taken down because it violates the hate speech policy that YouTube own, and he's calling for the same things to the effect that the terrorists, um, you know, are doing basically. So he's working on that within the same vein as them, and they're shutting him down. So this shows you what time we're in. The famine of the hearing the word is gonna come soon. That means the RFID chip is which is already here, is going to be implemented in great force. This means World War III is going to happen. This means Yahweh Shai is going to make his return. So don't, endure, have faith, man, because we're almost out of here. So with that, man, I pray you're edified. Shalom.